Monica, and welcome back to my cozy little corner of the internet. Today I'm excited because I'm bringing you along on just the ultimate cozy book shopping fall autumnal day in Brooklyn today. And I don't know, I just woke up today and I was like, I wish it was 1997 and fall. And I think a big part of that is because there's this new book that just came out called If It Makes You Happy, which is literally set in 1997 fall. And like, listen, I was like basically a baby at that time, so I guess I probably shouldn't be nostalgic for it. But isn't that just the way life is? Everyone always romanticizes the simpler times. Anyways, I just really want to pretend like it's the 90s and I'm a girl in a 90s rom-com going shopping in New York City. So that's what we're doing today, and I'm gonna bring you along. There's also a new stationery shop that just opened up in Park Slope nearby some of the bookstores that I want to go to, so definitely have to check that out. But I really just want to read like the coziest fall books right now, especially romance. I am typically not a huge romance reader, but recently all I've really wanted is like good rom-coms in my life. And now here's the thing, emphasis on the word good, because genuinely I struggle sometimes with romance books because I feel like romance books need to be labeled. Like, this book is actually a rom-com or romance, and this one's just like spice, and I'm not typically into the spice category. But there were a couple of books that I read last year, one that I loved, one that I hated. It's these two. You could guess which one I loved, which one I hated. I'll tell you now. I loved You Again by Kate Goldbeck. This is like actually ultimate fall rom-com vibes. It was so cute. I feel like you really got to know the characters and like their story, and they both grew as people, like not just as a couple, and I loved that. I loved just how big the story was. It was so adorable. I actually might reread this sometime this fall because I had so much fun reading this last year. This book, genuinely, The Pumpkin Spice Cafe, I think one of the worst things I've ever read. I am now like so scared to pick up books that compare themselves to Gilmore Girls because of this one. I just think like when I was reading this, it felt like, as someone who has watched Gilmore Girls multiple times, it felt less like an homage to Gilmore Girls and more like a bad ripoff of it, or like fan fiction. I don't know. The writing was really just not for me. The dialogue was really cringe to read. I did not like the romance at all. I didn't believe in it at all. It just felt very forced, and like, it's honestly how I feel sometimes about a lot of like books within the cozy genre, where it feels like someone made a list of like, here's all the things we have to do to make this book cozy or to make this book like Gilmore Girls, and like, let me just check them off. That's kind of how I felt reading this one. Sorry to yuck anyone's yum. If you loved this book, I love that for you. Please don't be upset with me. I'm always looking now for more rom-coms or romances like You Again because I had so much fun reading it. So that is my plan today. I'm gonna head out, go book shopping, and we'll see where the wind takes me and what I end up picking up. I am also excited because I'm working with Klarna for this video, and I've been keen to talk about this because this has honestly been so helpful for me recently. So I've used Klarna a few times over the years to split up a few like larger purchases online, usually concert tickets, but they've recently launched the Klarna card, which I have in the app, and I've been loving this. So it's basically like a debit card where you're able to load in a balance and then pay with that both online and in person. Basically anywhere where Visas and Tap to Pay are accepted. And generally this has been so helpful for my monthly budget, because what I've been doing is I decide, okay, this is my budget for fun spending. So that includes everything from dinner with friends, book shopping, etc. I just put that into my Klarna balance, and then that way I can easily see how much of my budget I'm spending each month. And if I end up finishing out that budget, then I have to actively decide to add more to it, which is just so helpful for me and my brain, because I am someone who, like, when I'm out and about, especially with how easy it is to pay for things now, I'm just not doing the math, and I do tend to overspend, and I don't love that. And this has just really helped me be a lot more intentional about my spending and thoughtful. So I love it for that. But what's also cool about Klarna is if you are making a larger purchase, you're able to still plan your purchase. So all you do is when you're in the Klarna card, you click pay later, store, and then you're able to plan a purchase and create a payment plan for whatever it is you're buying. And that's something that I also find helpful. Like recently I purchased new glasses, which I'm going to be picking up today, and that's a purchase that I knew I wanted to make, but it was one that I just wanted to spread out over a couple different monthly budgets versus having it all in one go. So I split it up into 3 payments, and that's how I was able to make my glasses work within my monthly budget. And obviously we do not pay later or plan our purchase with every purchase. I try to be very mindful about when I'm using that feature, and it's usually stuff that I have like very much pre-planned into my budget for the next few months. Also, some quick highlights: you do earn cash back when you pay in full or make a debit card purchase with the Klarna card. Also, you earn interest on your Klarna balance up to like I think 3.2% depending on which membership tier you have, and there is no credit impact or fees when applying. So love it. Excited for today. Excited to bring you guys along on this cozy little afternoon. So let's head out, go book shopping. Very keen to see what we find. If you want to learn more or sign up for the Klarna card, you can learn more in my description box. All right, let's head out. We've got a big day of cozy adventures ahead.
I just wanna go out and walk with you. Baby, you know I just like to talk with you. You don't have to tell me anything that's new. I just wanna go out and walk with you. I just wanna see your shadow next to mine, sailing over pavement with our 2 outlines. I like to see the shape you're in from time to time.
I think I'm gonna get this one. I've been wanting to read it for a minute, and it just sounds really cozy and cute and fun. So, and I love a witch book.
I just wanna see the same things you can see, understand the meaning on a new degree. Maybe that could happen when you're next to me. I just wanna see the same things you can see.
So I'm currently at the Swallow Cafe, which is one of my favorite cafes in the city. I got a little iced apple cider, which is so good. Tastes like fall. And I made a little purchase from Barnes & Noble. I got Rewitched, obviously. Very excited to read that. And then I also got the Cream Savers. This is like so, I feel it feels like kismet. I'm doing like a 90s rom-com vlog, and I find Cream Savers, which I don't think I've seen since like, I don't know, the early 2010s. I didn't even know they were bringing them back. So I'm excited to try those later, see if they live up to my memories. I picked up my glasses. I didn't film in there because it was a little bit crowded at the optometrist, but I got these from Gentle Monster. Like I mentioned earlier, I've been wanting new glasses for a while, specifically wanting silver frames and like oval, and they're really hard to find for my face shape. And I took them to my optometrist to get the lenses swapped out for my my prescription, which my insurance covered, which love to see that. But here are the glasses on. I'm so happy with them. I think they're so cute and they're really comfortable, and honestly it's just so nice to be able to like see, because I did also get a new prescription, and this prescription, the astigmatism is stronger, so I just feel like everything's so much clearer right now. Very, very happy about this purchase.
When you're down and confused, and you don't remember
Honestly, I went out today saying that I wanted to have like a 90s rom-com Gilmore Girls kind of day. And weirdly, the city just delivered. Like, I just feel like walking around the city and just, there were, musicians playing music on the street, and everyone was like so chatty. And it was just, New York was giving small town vibes today. I don't know what it was, but it was really magical. Anyways, let's do a little haul of what I picked up today. So, first of all, I already talked about what I got at Barnes & Noble, but I got Rewitched by Lucy Jane Wood. This is a spellbinding, warm, and cozy debut novel about a burned out witch who will need to turn to her friends and trust herself to find the magic in her own life again. We follow Belladonna Blackthorn, who hasn't lost her magical spark precisely, but she hasn't seen it in a while either. With her witchcraft under wraps and a toxic boss making her days miserable, Belle is struggling to keep her beloved lunar books afloat and just make it through the day. The last thing she has time for is perfecting her magic. So when her 30th birthday brings a summons from her coven and a trial that tests her worthiness as a witch, Belle fears the worst. With only the month of October left to either prove herself or risk losing her magic forever, Belle will need all the help she can get from the women in her life, from an unlikely mentor figure, and even from an infuriating coven watchman who's sworn to protect her. Sounds super cute, and it has a quote by Sarah Beth Durst, who wrote The Spell Shop, which I really, really loved, and she wrote, "I was completely charmed by this delightful and endearing novel about rediscovering your spark. Turning 30 has never been so magical." And honestly, the cover for this just looks so whimsical and cute and cozy, and this is definitely one of those books that I see all the time recommended as like a good cozy romance read, so I was really excited to pick this one up. And then I went to the Ripped Bodice, which is a romance bookstore that's here in Brooklyn. And I had a list of books that I wanted to check out. So one is the Apple Orchard Inn. Is that what it's called? The Honey Crisp Orchard Inn. So that was on my list, but they didn't have that one. I also wanted to read If It Makes You Happy by Julie Olivia, and they also didn't have that one. And I feel like those are two like really big romance fall books, but it was fine. I ended up picking up If It Makes You Happy just now on my Kobo, so I will be reading that. I actually just started this because today was so like Gilmore Girls 90s fall. I really just wanted to read this one because it's literally, that is the vibe. It's like set in the 90s. So I started this when I got home and I'm really liking it so far. It's very, very cute. I mentioned earlier that when I read The Pumpkin Spice Cafe, I just felt really burned by it. It's made me like distrust anything that tries to compare itself to Gilmore Girls, but so far this is delivering on those vibes. So reading that one. And then I did pick up from the Ripped Bodice Love at First Fright, honestly, because I saw that it again had a blurb from Sarah Beth Durst. So hopefully she's not leading me astray, but she wrote, "It's addicting and adorable, sweet and sexy. Love at First Sight is a delicious treat." And this one just sounds really fun because it's about a successful author whose novel is being adapted into a movie, and she clashes with the male lead. And I just think that sounds so fun. So Rosemary Shaw's ability to see the dead has never scared her. In fact, it secretly inspired most of her horror novels. Now 29, Rosemary is an acclaimed author, and her most successful book is about to be a blockbuster movie. The film is set in a beautiful manor house in the English countryside, and it's no surprise there are ghosts hanging around. But while ghosts are something Rosemary can handle, she's not so sure how to deal with her infuriatingly handsome leading man, who is all wrong for the role. Ellis Finch is a longtime Hollywood heartthrob with a secret of his own. He's tired of playing the action movie hero and would much rather be gardening with his sweet dog, Fig. Frankly, he's getting too old to maintain the industry standards of what a man should look like. Starring in a historical horror movie will be perfect for his new image until he finds out that the author tried to get him kicked off the project. But Ellis won't go down without a fight. Amid filming the movie and the chemistry-filled feuding between Rosemary and Ellis, Hollow Vale Manor comes alive, literally. Trying to balance the mayhem of her writing deadlines, an adorable ghostly dog, and a pair of Regency-era women who are definitely nothing more than friends, Rosemary is at risk of telling Ellis her secret, or worse, falling for him. It just sounds really cute. I hope it's good. I have not heard anything. This is one that I haven't heard anything about. I bought this one purely based on the vibes, the blurb, the cover, the idea. So we're going in hoping for the best here. I never do this with romance. I'm usually like, I run every romance purchase through so many people normally, because I just feel like I'm so picky. But we'll see. We'll see how this goes. Honestly, part of the reason why I picked this up is because there's a couple stories that I like that this reminded me of. One is there's this television show, I think it's just called Ghosts, and it's a BBC show, and they've also made a US version. And I've watched a bit of it. I haven't watched as much as I really want to. I think that's one of my goals this autumn, is to watch more of that show. But I really liked as much as I saw, and it's basically about this couple who move into this old manor, and it's haunted by all these ghosts, and only they can see the ghosts, or I think only one of them can see the ghost. So that just reminded me of that. So intrigued for that one. Oh, and then If It Makes You Happy is about this woman who, her mom passes at the beginning of the story, and she ends up moving to this little town in Vermont where her mom and dad were running a bed and breakfast to take care of the bed and breakfast while her sister finishes up school. And she ends up meeting a man there who has children, and she's divorced, and she just sort of like, from what I'm gathering so far in the first couple chapters, she's just like really stoic, kind of hides a lot of her emotions, doesn't think she's really deserving of like being loved and all of that, and it just sounds like it'll be a good time. Honestly, I kind of relate a lot to the main character in this, like her struggling to just reveal her emotions to the people she loves. It's just something that I relate, I get it. And a new stationery store opened up in Park Slope called Boddington Studio. And it's just like this really small but cute stationery shop. And I love just browsing a good stationery shop, looking at all the different types of notebooks and pencils and pens. And I love a fountain pen. I went in there wanting to see if they had any fountain pens I might want, but they really didn't have a large selection of them. But I ended up picking up a couple of pencils, which I have actually been in the market for a couple of like nice high quality graphite writing utensils. So I got this one first. This is the Blackwing Pearl pencil, which is like a very popular pencil. Like there are a lot of like composers and people who they have their own specific Blackwing that historically they like loved, which I think is just, I don't know, I love romanticizing everything, even a pencil, you know. But I thought this was really pretty, and the pearl is supposed to be a pretty like soft pencil, so it'll write pretty darkly. And I've been wanting a pencil where you can like swap out the erasers, so that's what you could do with this, which I like a lot. So that is my first purchase. And then I also got this little lead pen, but it looks like a pencil. I don't know if you could see that. Do the beauty guru trick. But yeah, it looks like a little pencil. I just thought it was so cute, and I love the colors of the baby blue with the deep red. I thought that was really cute. And it's just super lightweight. Just a nice little everyday pencil. And I don't write with pencils a lot, but I do use them when I'm doing Sudoku puzzles. So these are my Sudoku pencils. Although I will try and like use my pencils more often now, maybe, now that I have two nice ones. Okay, let's try one of these cream savers. Oh my gosh, this feels so nostalgic to me. I love this. That is delicious. I don't know why they ever got rid of these. Phenomenal. Well, since I've had a very 90s rom-com kind of day, I feel like we got to keep these good vibes going. So I'm going to make a soup, because nothing says cozy fall day like a good bowl of soup. So let's go do that. And while I'm doing that, I'll probably read a bit. accidentally stayed up all night reading If It Makes You Happy. My but my defense, it's so good. I really enjoyed it. I just felt like it had everything that I've really been looking for in a rom-com book. Like, it actually was a rom-com. It had so much yearning in it, like emotional yearning, and that's exactly what I was looking for. It was super, super cute. I really loved the characters, and I feel like I mentioned earlier that I'd kind of been burned by books that get compared to Gilmore Girls, but I feel like with this one, it's 100% earned, but it feels very much still like its own story, its own book, but like as though it's just paying homage to Gilmore Girls. And there were a few scenes where I was like, I could literally see like Amy Sherman Palladino doing this, and I think you especially saw that the most in the characters' interactions with the local like townspeople and the relationships that they build with them, which felt really authentic and wholesome and cute and just made me really happy. I really appreciate when a romance book scope goes beyond just like the two main characters. So I had a lot of fun reading that last night. It was adorable. I couldn't put it down, obviously. It's actually a little bit unfortunate that last night was my late night up because I have a bit of an early start today. I'm up a bit earlier than normal than I normally would be on the weekends because I'm meeting my family in Jersey today because there is a Chuseok festival, which is a Korean fall harvest festival, but it is quite a long journey. So I am going to be bringing Rewitched with me and reading this one, which I'm excited for. I wanted to switch it up, go with, I mean, I guess the other two books that I got are both paranormal, but that one is definitely more paranormal. It's basically about this this woman who is a witch. I guess I talked about it last night, but she's a witch and she works in a bookshop and she has to prove her worthiness of being a witch in these trials. But yeah, I'm going to finish getting ready and then I'm going to take the train out to Fort Lee, well, the train and then the bus out to Fort Lee, and I will definitely read a lot of Rewitched, hopefully, on my journeys today. Got home. My mom is staying for the night. We went to this little Korean festival in New Jersey, which honestly was a bit of a dud. It was just like, I think the advertising for it was like made it sound a lot bigger than what it actually was. Which is fine. It was still cute. I got to spend time with my family. We went and got Korean barbecue together. So like, no harm, no foul. I'll always take an opportunity to spend an afternoon with my family. So that was really nice. Then my mom and I went to Koreatown, got some baked goods for her to take home, and now she's in the other room probably watching a Korean drama while we wait for our Thai food to arrive for dinner. But I did do quite a bit of reading because it was an hour-and-a-half journey to and from, and then I also read a bit earlier this morning. So I'm on chapter 12 of Rewitched, and this is so cute and fun. It is reminding me so much of Sabrina the Teenage Witch. I need to research if that was the inspiration for this, because this is specifically reminding me of like one episode of Sabrina the Teenage Witch where she had to do these trials to like continue being a witch, and this feels like pulled from that exactly. In a really fun way, like not in a ripoff kind of way. It's just like really cute and cozy, and I love the premise behind it. I will say, going into this, I thought it was like a romance, and we're almost halfway through, and there is like barely even a hint of romantic stuff happening, which is totally fine. I think I mentioned at the beginning of this video, or at least mentioned in other videos, that I love really whimsical stories. That's kind of all I really want to read, is just like whimsical magical fantasy. Not really interested in the whole like grimdark side of things or like battles and war and all of that in my fantasy right now. And I feel like one of the only places to find that is middle grade, because in adult it's like if you have that, it's also very romance heavy. So I am really appreciating that I found this book and it's basically exactly what I was looking for. So I'm really enjoying it. Yeah, so we'll see how far I get tonight. I'm going to be spending some time with my mom, but she usually goes to bed pretty early. So when she goes to bed, I'll probably do some more reading and we'll see how far along I get. But so far, very much enjoying this one quite a bit. So I finished Rewitched. I didn't vlog all yesterday. I had so much going on. I had to take my mom to catch her bus home. I had so much going on with work stuff. And then I saw Chapel Rowan, who was incredible. I went and I said, I am not gonna buy any merch. I'm not touching the merch booth. And then within the first 5 minutes, I leaned over to my friend and I was like, I will be going to that merch booth at the end of this concert. And I ended up getting this hoodie, which I'm obsessed with. It's like this woman riding a dragon and it's pink. And the hoodie itself is like this perfect faded gray color. And one of my favorite color combos is pink and gray. And I just love it. I think it's so cute. And the show itself was incredible. Like I cannot even begin to describe it. It was like all of my fantasies and dreams come to life in the stage design. It just reminded me of all of the like weird cartoons, like fantasy cartoons that I would love growing up as a child. Like we would go and rent movies and I would always pick out these movies from like the early 90s or 80s that always had like goblins and things. And I loved those types of eerie, spooky fantasy things when I was little and still do. Like I think it had a very big impression on me. And like that is literally the vibe of her show. And even just like the screens that are behind the like castle type structure that she performs on are so cool. Like the animations and things, like I literally felt like I was in one of those films. It was so fun. And obviously like she's such an incredible performer. So I had a blast, loved it. And I also finished Rewitched by Lucy Jane Wood, and I enjoyed this. So the romance ended up coming through in like the more of like the last half of the book, so it's not a very heavy romance by any means. It's very much like a fantasy, and there just happens to be a romantic element in it because it's part of our main character's like journey in general, which honestly, like I am so desperate for more books like that. So if you have any recommendations, please tell me, because I feel like it's really hard to find books within the cozy fantasy genre that aren't like really heavy in the romance. And so I loved the balance that this book had with that. I thought that that was really fun. I loved the world building. I loved the feeling like I was basically reading about 30-year-old Sabrina the Teenage Witch. My biggest qualm is that even though I found the resolution and everything predictable, like I kind of knew very early on how things were going to shake out. Even though I knew that, I still felt like the reasoning for a lot of things felt kind of convoluted and maybe a little bit too much of a logical jump, if that makes sense. So that's like my biggest critique. But honestly, like I had a fun time reading this. It's really cute. I would love to actually, this is the type of book that I would love to see adapted. I feel like this would be such a fun, like cozy Halloween story on like Netflix or something. I think that would be great. So I'd love that. I had a good time with it. I think it's worthwhile picking up this autumn, especially if you want like a cozy witchy book. There are just some elements where I was like, I don't know about that. But if I just like turn that part of my brain off, I had a good time. So I enjoyed it. I didn't love it, but I liked it. So those are my thoughts on Rewitched. And then I literally just this morning started reading Love at First Fright. And by just started reading, I think I'm like 2 or 3 pages in. And this one, I'm curious to see how I get on with it, because I am starting to realize that it mentions like spice quite a few times. The premise and everything sounds really fun, but I'm not typically into romance books that have a lot of like spice in them. I'm always down to be proven wrong and to find books that make me realize that something that I thought I didn't like, I do like. So we'll see how I get on with this one. But yeah, that's my plan for today, is to read Love at First Fright. I just got home. I read more of my book while I was out. I'm now on chapter 7, and I'm really liking this. I'm like actually very surprised by how much I'm enjoying it. Now, we haven't gotten to any of these spice bits, and anytime they make reference to it, I will say that like I internally cringe. However, the actual like buildup of the romance, I'm like having fun. I'm having fun reading. I do really like the characters. I love this like dynamic they're having where like they kind of hate each other, but mostly because they're both sort of in their own heads. It's a little bit giving like Pride and Prejudice vibes. So yeah, I'm having fun. It's a good time. So I'm going to continue reading this. So yeah, I think that is my plan for this evening is I just want to sit in my little reading chair. Maybe I'll do a puzzle. Yeah, okay. That's my plan for tonight. I'm going to heat up some leftovers and I'm going to do a puzzle and read more of Love at First Fright. I might get it as an audiobook so that I can like do both at the same time.
Anyway, once during filming for a cheesy action flick about a swashbuckling pirate, he'd taken a nap in one of the snakes.
So I made it to chapter 27 and okay, I know that at first I was feeling really good about it and I don't dislike it by any means, but I think my main frustration is that I kind of feel like the book is almost 3 books right now. Like there's 3 very distinct plot lines happening. There's the fact that Rosemary is a screenwriter and her film, screenwriter and novelist, and the horror novel that she wrote is being adapted. So that's like one of the stories, and you have like her journey of like confidence and everything through that. Then you have this romance with Ellis, who is like the actor. Then you have Ellis being blackmailed by his manager, which is his plot line. So like, because there's dual perspectives in here. 4 plot lines, because then you have the fact that Rosemary can also talk to and see ghosts. And it's just kind of like, it's not that I dislike any of those elements because I'm actually really interested in each one, but it's like they're, for some reason, having a hard time like melding together. Like it just feels a bit disjointed as I'm reading the book. So it's got like so many good ideas, but I'm kind of struggling with the execution. I also did like the sort of banter that Rosemary and Ellis were having, but I just like, this is something that I get frustrated with books with spice. I often find that in books that are meant to be like higher on the spice level, that as soon as intimate scenes start happening, all of the like banter and story and stuff, it kind of just melds into the background. And like that becomes the whole focus of the book. And I feel like this book is definitely doing that. And it's like the least interesting. I know that sounds so stupid, but it's like the least interesting part. Because like there's really interesting things happening in this book. Like the fact that she can talk to ghosts and there are these lesbian ghosts. And I want to know that story. I know we're going to get there, but I'm just like, God, it's like reading a war novel. I think that's the other thing, is that my favorite part of a romance novel is the yearning. I love the romance of it all, you know, like the actual honest to God romance. And I just feel like it's hard to find that in romance books, which I think is crazy. So this is making it sound like I hate this and I think it's really bad. I don't. I think it's good. I especially think if you like this type of romance, I think you'll love it. I think it's a really fun time. It has lots of interesting, fun ideas, but yeah, I don't know. That is how I'm feeling so far about Love at First Fright. I am, however, I think going to end this vlog here because I'm feeling so sleepy and I want to be able to get this video up in the next couple of days. So I'm going to end this here, but I will let you all know if you follow me over on IG. I'll post my final thoughts on this after I set this video live. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun just like having some really good early autumn days. Love it. I feel like I got to read some good books that are a bit out of my typical wheelhouse. Like I don't read romance very often, so I'm glad that I did this because it's making me really excited to want to read more romance because I know that there are books out there that I will love. Like I really loved If It Makes You Happy. I will definitely be reading whatever else the author puts out. I will say there is one thing though that happens in If It Makes You Happy. I don't know fully how I feel about it. More so that I don't know fully how I feel about how it was handled. That's all I'm gonna say. If you've read the book, I'd love to discuss with you because I can't fully decide my thoughts on that. But other than that, I really loved the book, would highly recommend it. It's super fun. And then I really enjoyed Rewitched. I will definitely be reading the sequel, finding out what happens with these characters because I really came to love them. I really liked the slow burn with the romance. I loved the character arc of that main character, who I can't remember the name of right now. I just really loved watching her grow over the course of the novel. I thought it was like very well done. And then Love at First Fright, I also didn't dislike. I liked this one. It was fine. So honestly, for someone who like typically does not read romance and has struggled to find romances that I have a fun time reading, I feel like this video was a success. Obviously, I still have to finish this and I could totally hate it or completely love it by the end, but that's how I'm feeling right now. Yeah, I would love to hear from you guys. What are you excited to read this fall? What are books that you think other people should read this fall? If you have any romance recs for me, let me know, especially if they're like autumnal. Also taking suggestions for Christmassy ones. I know it's early. I know. I have to, start thinking about this now. Anyways, let me know in the comments down below. But thank you all so much for watching and I'll see you next time. Bye.